Welcome back, folks. It's John Pollock here with you. We are getting set for the UFC's return to Brisbane, Australia. It's happening Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be airing on TSN up here in Canada. The prelims kick off at 8 Eastern on Fight Network. One of the fights we're looking forward to, a middleweight bout, as James Tahuna is going to be meeting the man who joins us now. He is Steve Bosse. Steve, how are you doing? Just about a week or so away from this big fight in Australia for yourself.
Hey, I'm fine, thanks.
When you were called and this fight was going to be taking place in Australia, is this a positive for you, or is traveling so far away, does that come with equal disadvantages, would you say?
The UFC proposed this fight around December, and it's a good matchup. James Tahuna is a very good opponent for me. That's why I accept the challenge.
This is certainly not going to be a crowd that I think is going to be split by any stretch. I mean, James Tahuna, very popular over there. Do you like kind of playing the spoiler role where you are going to be going into enemy territory and are probably going to get that kind of reception? Do you like that role?
It's the first time I go fight in a country of my opponent. My last fight is in Florida against the Brazilian, so it's going to be a good... I'm happy with this.
Are you someone that will dissect a lot of tape when it comes to your opponent? Do you watch a lot of fights for someone like a James Tahuna, or do you not as much focus on that?
Yeah, for sure. I looked a couple fights of James, so it's going to be a good fight. He fight a good name, a big name in the UFC, around five guys in the top 10 in the UFC. So he has a big name, and it's a good challenge for me.
You are associated with so many fun fights. I mean, Canadian fans have been following your career for a long time at this point. Certainly, I think the best case scenario, you have an entertaining victory. But when you go into the cage, are you looking for the win first and entertaining fight second? Because that's obviously something that sometimes they don't always go hand in hand.
When I go in the cage, it's for win. My first thing is to win the fight. I lose my last fight, and it was tough to come back after the lose like that. So I wanted to be back in a win in March 20 here.
What do you feel went wrong for you against Thiago Santos last June?
It's a big lose. When you lose by knockout, it's always tough to come back, and because nobody wants to lose like that. Lose, it's okay, but lose by knockout, it's not good for the mentally, you know. And I'm excited to come back in the cage to prove who the boss is.
Did it take you a long time to get over that loss? Did you go back and watch it? Was there anything you can really take from that?
I take time with my family, girlfriend. I take 3 months out of the gym and just focus on my life, and after that I come back in the gym, and the warrior inside me wants to go back in the cage.
And what are some of the changes you found? I mean, throughout your career, you were fighting at 205 pounds, but you were always very light for that weight. Now coming down to middleweight since entering the UFC, how different has that been for you? And just how you have felt physically, fight week, getting down to 185 pounds. Do you feel a more healthier fighter at this point at the lower weight class?
My last fight, I started training camp at 235. In 10 days, I lose 50 pounds with this rotation. It's a lot. And this fight is at 205. Now I come back to 205. I don't know if I will stay at 205, but now I focus at 205. Now I'm around 215 and 220.
Now, you've had a very chaotic year. I mean, I wanted to ask you, first of all, about UFC 186, because that had to have been one of the most unique set of circumstances for a fighter coming into the UFC, where you were pegged to be coming in to replace Quinton Jackson. Then you didn't know what your status was going to be on the card, and ultimately not fighting on that card. Was that a stressful week for yourself, not knowing what was going to be happening that Saturday night at the Bell Center, and if you would be fighting or not?
Yeah, it was tough because I think 2 days before the fight, the UFC called me and say Rampage is back now. I was ready to go with Maldonado in my hometown in the center, so I just go in the stand and watch the fight, and it was tough, but that was the UFC tell me before it was a chance to Rampage back. So.
And that phone call that the UFC made to you, I mean, did that largely turn your attitude towards mixed martial arts around? I mean, you had stepped away. Had that call not come from the UFC, would you be retired at this point?
Yeah, I was retired. I was in a training camp to fight in a professional boxing in Montreal. So when I see Rampage out, I call my manager. I say, "Hey, call Dana White. I'm ready to go to save the show, to save the fight." And when called Dana White say, "Okay, we appreciate that, and we give to Steve so Rampage can come back."
And I mean, I was in Montreal for that card, and man, there just seemed to be so much interest locally in Steve Bosse fighting. I mean, you are a really big star to these people in Montreal. I can imagine it was very difficult for you to sit in the stands that night, wanting to be in the octagon that night.
Yeah, for sure, it was tough because all the people come and want to take a picture with me, and my place was. I would like to be in a cage, not in the stand, but it was like that, so I accept that.
Well, tell us a bit about how you envision this fight with James Te Huna going. He's a very tough fighter. He's been around for quite some time in the UFC. Are you someone that does try and envision a fight, or do you kind of just leave that to itself on fight night?
Yeah, for sure I have a visualization, and James, he loses the third fight straight losing. So another lose for James, I think UFC was releasing him, and he know that. So I think he will be bounce back strong. That's what I think. And he's in his country. So, and for me, it's a big name. James Te Huna fight a couple big name in the top 10. So it's a big opportunity to me to bounce back with a big name like that, and a big knockout against James Te Huna will push me in a good way in the UFC division.
And would you like to fight on that card in Ottawa that they've just announced for June 18th? Is that enough of a turnaround for you if all goes well against James Te Huna?
Yeah, sure, but I don't want to look after the March 20. But if I'm okay, for sure, I would like to fight on the same card in a Canadian Ottawa.
Well, it's James Te Huna and Steve Bosse going down Saturday night, March the 19th. If you are in North America, main card 10 p.m. Eastern time. As you can see, these two light heavyweights go at it. Steve, we're very much looking forward to the card, and all the best heading over to Brisbane during fight week and against James Te Huna.
All right, guys. I will give a good show.
Thanks very much, Steve. Appreciate it.